Hey everyone, and welcome back to Spill the Tea with Damen B and GG. Woo woo.
Hi, everyone.
We're on season 2, Graham. Season
Oh my
2.
God. Already? How do we get
Already.
there?
Well, we kind of just decided to call it an end of season 1, and here we are.
Well, it was because I went to Mexico and we got mixed up on our schedules.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to keep saying I went to Mexico.
Yeah, Grandma went to Mexico.
Yeah.
She did smuggle drugs back, but
Well, doesn't everyone?
doesn't everyone?
I
So
don't
now
know.
now it's going to be an annual trip. I'm just
Right.
yeah.
Exactly. I made a lot of money. No, I'm
Yeah,
just kidding. No,
I
I
know.
didn't.
Did anyone notice her new face? Like, from the money.
Hmm. Oh, I thought you meant my nice tan.
Oh yeah, that too.
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I got a lot of sun. It was awesome. Here's how we described it. I think it best describes it. It was like one long day
Oh,
in the sun.
that was your
Yeah.
whole trip?
Yes.
The whole 3 weeks you went?
No,
No, I'm just kidding.
one 1 week. But we it's so interesting to go and like walk up to a bar, get drinks at 10 in the morning and not pay.
I mean, that's just a
So weird,
typical Thursday for me, but
right? So that was fun. That was different for me. And then like going to a restaurant and coming out and just walking out, like you don't pay. It's so
Oh
weird.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
don't do it
So
now when you're home.
I probably will. I'll be like, hey, I'm in Mexico. I'll throw them $1, an American dollar. Thank
for your
you. Here's your
for
dollar.
yeah, for your troubles.
I should do that and see what happens. Well, I'll probably go to jail.
Well, okay, so you had a great time in Mexico,
Hmm.
and now you're
I
back.
did.
We had
I'm
beautiful
back.
we had beautiful weather while you were gone. I'm just saying.
I heard it was quite cold.
Oh, maybe over there, but here in Ontario,
Over here, it was
beautiful.
cold. Really?
Yeah, people, this
Hmm.
is a great segue. People have started planting tulips, and we're going to be talking about gardening today. So,
Yeah, gardening and self-sustaining.
yeah.
There's a lot of talk about that these days and how best to um, sort of, live without having to shop at a grocery store and live without electricity and that sort of thing.
Now,
So,
are you into that? Because I'm not.
I would have, if you take me back 30 years ago,
Mhm.
I would have been. But no, I'm too old and I just want electricity when I want it. I want my computer, I want my phone, I want everything when I want it. 30 years ago, I think I would have probably tried it and tried to, although 30 years ago, the technology certainly isn't what it is today.
Well, I was going to say 30
So,
years ago, you were in your 50s, correct?
okay.
And that's a wrap.
And yeah, that's it. I'm done.
Wouldn't you
I
want to
can't
start
take it
earlier?
anymore. Oh my
Right.
god. Anyway, so what I'm saying is I think it's a bit
Mhm.
of a young person's game.
Okay.
And maybe not, nowadays you can get the solar panels and um back then our option would have been a wood stove and no electricity. So, mm, no.
Yeah, I know people who want to live off the grid. However, I do not want to live off the grid. It's just like so inconvenient, I find. Like, I want everything at
Mhm.
my disposal. I want my phone. I want power when I want power. I want hot water when I want hot water. I want
Right.
heat in the
Right.
winter. I don't want anything
And
broken.
if you ever like you say you watch those like panning for gold in Alaska,
Oh, I
so
love
you
those shows.
watch some of those shows. And there's some on YouTube and stuff where people are moving to Alaska and literally living off the grid. I just
Yeah.
look at it and watch it and think it just looks exhausting to me,
Oh,
you
I
know?
when I watch it, I'm like, how do they not like get up? Like, how do they get up? Because literally, I'd be so depressed.
How do
Well,
they
the
get
one
up in
guy,
the morning?
I don't know. and they just drink all the time. Like,
Of
if
course
you're
they do.
drinking, yeah. Well, they're
Of
probably depressed.
course.
It's a cycle. It's a
Yeah,
it's a cycle of depression.
yes,
You
it
live in
absolutely is.
you live in
Um,
Alaska, for God's sakes. Like,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I'm not doing that, number 1, and, there is, like so there's a lot to be said about raising your own and like, meat to eat,
Mm,
um, and your own garden and doing your own canning and keeping all that. There's a lot to be said about it because you don't know what you're getting in the grocery store. So,
yeah.
I've done gardens like almost my whole adult life, and I do canning, and I still do. More for now, more for just sort of the joy of it than the necessity of it. It does come
Mm,
in handy when you have children and you don't have a lot of money. Um, you can do a lot with gardens. And we did raise our own pigs and chickens and killed them and defeathered them and cut them up. And so, but you know where it's coming from. You know everything that chicken has eaten. Whereas when
yeah.
you go to the grocery store, you have no idea. None.
Well, listen, Grandma, I don't need the emotional attachment because then I would just become a vegetarian. And then two,
Mhm.
I don't want to be plucking my own chickens, killing my like the meat I eat. I
I
am
didn't.
not.
The first couple of years we did that, and I'm not a big fan of chickens. Okay. Well, okay.
Are they really not chicken? I don't.
Well, they are chickens,
Grandma
but I
just
mean,
did
I
quotation
mean
marks around chickens.
chickens.
Yeah.
I mean, I you know what I love is turkeys. That broke my heart when we had to kill the turkeys. They're just so loving. Chickens, I didn't care. But what I did find is
Uh,
when we did it all, I went to eat it, and there's a certain I'm just gonna get gross here for a second.
right.
There's a certain smell that comes with chickens. And when
Okay.
you defeather them, you have to dunk them in almost boiling water.
I did not agree to this. I agreed to
Not
gardening
listen, not
and
when
this
they're alive. After they've been disposed of, you have to dunk them in boiling water to pull the
decapitated.
to get their feathers out, and there's a certain
Right.
smell, okay? Because
Mm,
chickens are dirty and stinky,
yeah.
and that smell permeates. And even though then you do a lot to make sure they're clean, you get them into cold like, you wash everything, you get everything in cold water, you
Right.
freeze them. Every time I ate that chicken, I could smell that smell, and so that was not good. It was not good. So the next year, I said, I am not doing this. I'm not gonna be a part of this, so we'll send them out,
Hmm.
and so they left as chickens, and they came back as lovely birds to go into the freezer,
So they
all
still came back
packaged
as
nicely.
chickens.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
they look like they came from the grocery store, so I was much better. Now the turkeys, that
Mm,
was really hard, and I don't know after the 2nd year or 3rd year if we even had turkeys again, because that was very hard. I found they had a loving disposition, and anytime you went into them, they got excited. They had like a yeah, and oh, I just was like, I can't do this. But and same with the pig. We had a pig, and I had pigs when I was younger on my own. Um, and I didn't seem to have a problem, but I think then I was really concerned about money and groceries and stuff. So it was like, well, we're killing these pigs. We got to eat. Um, this pig was on his own, and then he made friends with our bull in the barn, and he'd break out of his little pen and he'd go and sleep with the bull, and you go in the morning, and oh my God, they were so cute together. It was
okay,
enough.
great.
So
Yeah.
I'm just saying, for everyone who thinks that farmers are like horrible people, they're really not.
Oh
They
no.
do have emotions and they do care about their animals. And in fact, a farmer spends more time keeping those animals healthy and alive because that's their mainstay. That's how they live. So it does not suit them well to treat the animals badly or do anything terrible to them. Yeah, there's always the crazy, but for the most part, farmers are they do care. It's just that
Well,
it's a livelihood.
yeah, without farmers, then we wouldn't have a lot of things. So
Mhm,
I have
mhm.
respect for farmers because I don't have the stomach to do that, but I have the stomach
Right.
to eat what they
Right,
produce. So,
right,
like,
exactly. So
yeah.
everybody eating chicken and stuff out of a store. Well, and now what's happening nowadays, and we talk about self-sustainment, it's really like they've gotten rid of that small farmer. It used to be like your great grandpa had a 100-acre farm.
Mhm.
Everybody had that little 100-acre farm, and that's sort of what kept Canadians in meat and produce. Well, the government over the years has just made it so difficult for those farms to survive. And now what it is like Maple Leaf, that
Oh,
makes
yeah, yeah.
cold cuts. Well,
Mhm.
they own these massive, massive places where your chickens are stacked one on top of the other, all the way from floor to ceiling. They have no life whatsoever. They never go outside. They never see the light of day. They never see grass. They never see anything. All they see is a cage and they're fed, and that's
Grandma,
it.
I'm sorry, I can't talk about this because I'm gonna go pick one up right after we were done. Like,
Well,
I'm
and
thinking
then one
about.
shits on the other, shits on the other, shits on the other. It's just gross. It's disgusting.
Yes, it is
It's gross.
gross.
And then the same with farming cattle or pigs. I'm sure you've seen terrible videos. Well, those come out of the
Yes.
massive, massive farms where they can't really care because it's just on a scale that's too big to care. So, the pig is side by side by side, and then you have, it's just awful. So I look at these people now who are starting to small farm again.
Mhm.
Like I just mentioned, we went by a neighbor's house and they put up a little pen and they've got 4 or 5 pigs in it. And I think, good. Like 6 or 7 or 10 families are actually going to eat some good meat, and those pigs are having the time of their lives right now. And they would only live as long as they're going to live.
Keywords right now.
Well, but I mean, that pig could have been
Yeah.
in one of those horrible places, never seen grass, never seen daylight, or he's here in this big pen, like huge. The whole yard is a pig pen, and with his buddies, and they're all running around and having fun. And
Okay, great. So
what would you rather?
gardening.
Okay,
Yeah,
gardening.
to
You want me off the meat.
yeah.
Get off that meat
Like, I'm
subject. We're not
literally
talking
going
about it.
grocery shopping right after this, and I'm picking up a rotisserie chicken, and I like, so I don't wanna think about it.
Maybe you'll change your food choices.
Right.
Oh, that's funny. Anyway, well, today, just for instance, we put a garden
Hmm.
in today. So, and I recommend to every single person who's never done it is to grow something yourself. Um, and there's a couple of reasons. One is it's very satisfactory to start something from a tiny, tiny seed and get it to fruition. The other is someday you may need to know how to do that. You never know. You never know what's on the
What?
horizon. Well, you don't. I mean, you just don't. You know
Mm.
what? If something happened, I know that I could survive. Could you?
No, because I wouldn't wanna live and I'm okay with that because I don't wanna live in a world
Are
where
you
I
okay
have
with
to
that?
garden. I don't wanna garden, like, it's not for me, like, give me an office chair and a computer, like, I don't wanna get my hands dirty,
Okay,
that's not
well, I want you to go out and I want you to buy something, a tomato, like, what
ugh.
about some cherry tomatoes, something like that, and just try
How about you
and
mind your
grow.
business and send your grandson money like he used to do? That's what I want. And I did the whole, "Oh, you
You
put
know
a."
who's you know who's gonna show up on my doorstep when all hell breaks loose and we have to sustain ourselves?
Who?
You.
Ah,
Grandma, I can't do it.
look at listen, I did the whole bean sprout thing in a paper towel, and you watch it
Mhm.
grow, and I just thought, "Holy fuck, this took a long time." And I have a cactus, and that's the only living plant I have in my house. Everything else died. It takes
Oh my
too much
god.
effort to remember to water your plants, and especially when you've already gone to bed and you go, "Oh, damn, I should have watered my plants today. I'll do it tomorrow," and then you forget. It's too
Mm,
much. Uh,
okay.
if they were
Don't have
outside,
children.
no,
Oh
I'm
my
not planning
goodness.
on it.
Never have a child if it's too much to water a plant.
It's too much. The cactus, thriving.
Yeah, because you don't have to water
No,
it.
like, if I'm gonna adopt a child, but I don't think I wanna adopt a child. I wanna adopt someone who's, like, 17, turning 18, ready to go
Okay,
off to college. I'm like, "You know
right.
what? Yeah, let's do that."
I've been a
Because
great dad.
yeah, you can take care of yourself, but I'll pay for your college or whatever, and we'll have a great relationship because I don't gotta do a
Excellent.
thing. Just
Wow. Okay, so say if you did,
yeah.
um, like today we planted a garden, and it's not that big. I used to have a very, very big garden. Um, but we've scaled it down quite a bit because there's only the two of us, and we put in radishes because Grandpa loves radishes. I hate them.
I don't mind them.
Um, green onions because I love
Okay.
green onions in my salad. Um, 2 rows of beans, and I'll tell you why in a minute. A row of peas, a row of corn that we never ever do well at. So it's just every year it's like a thing.
Yeah, so 27th time's the charm, right?
Yeah. Yes. This year's gonna be it. And then, what's that? Oh, and a row of chard because I love chard, which is like spinach.
Yeah.
It's like a spinach, but you cook it's the same thing but colored.
So you just do a vegetable garden? You don't have any pretty ones, like tulips or
Oh,
anything?
yeah, we have flower gardens, which I've gotten ready too.
Oh, nice.
And every year so in those, every year, your grandpa actually does a wildflower garden for me right under my window. Isn't that sweet?
Oh, just
Okay.
precious.
It is precious.
It's
And
just
so
precious.
in the fall, we will go out and pick all the poppy heads off, not because they're full of heroin, which they are, by the way. And if you did gardening, you'd know that.
I actually already knew that, but go on.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Well, I know how to get the heroin.
Well,
Just
I also
saying.
oh, well, I watch Jeopardy, so I'm just gonna
So anyway, we'll go out every fall and grab the poppy heads
Yeah.
and put them in an envelope because we plant them again next spring. And I have some poppies that I gave to your great grandmother.
Okay. So I
And
thought
they are like children of children of children. They're generations old.
oh,
Yeah,
that's very sweet. When you
yeah.
said, though, I put them in an envelope, I thought you were gonna say that you send them to someone to extract the heroin, and they said
No.
like a
No,
letter to
you
Santa.
actually take it just so if people know, and actually growing poppies in Canada used to be illegal. And I don't all of a sudden it's come back again, I guess because people don't realize that that's what you make heroin out of. So what you do is the little poppy there's a like a where the flower comes out, and they
Mhm.
come out and then the petals fall off, and that little thing there, you just nick it down the side. I've seen this on TV, I don't really know. And there's just a drop or 2 of the stuff that comes out
Yeah,
of it. That's what they make the heroin out of. How it goes from there, I don't know, but that's how they get it. So it's
yeah,
field upon field in Afghanistan and over in those countries. It's just field and field and field of poppies, and that's what somebody does is goes along and nicks each one of them and collects that. Yeah, just anyway. And I also do nasturtiums, and they're a little flower that you can eat the petals, so you
oh,
can put them
okay.
in salad and stuff like that.
Yeah,
And at the in the fall, they get this little. It looks like almost like a peanut sh seed, and I'll
mhm.
go around and pick those all off, and today I replanted them. So I'm on about, well, probably year 7 of those from no, for year 4 here of those.
Well,
Yeah.
at my old school, we had an arboretum, and the flower gardens were beautiful, and at the end, like when school was starting again, my mother and my grandmother, my other one, would want to come visit me. Well, I think to see me, but also to raid the arboretum and get the
Yeah,
seeds from the
yeah,
flowers. And
yeah.
I was like so embarrassed because they had plastic baggies and they were just going around and taking the little seeds. And like, people are watching. And I was like, yeah.
Well, just a suggestion too, if you're gonna collect seeds, put them in paper, not plastic.
Paper bag.
They'll
Well,
they
yeah.
will mold if you leave them in plastic. So I always take a little
Mm.
paper envelope. Well, I found that out over the years of ruining seeds and going, "Why? Why?" That's why. So anyway, so yeah, so oh, and those nasturtium too, the little thing, the little seed that looks like a peanut,
Mhm.
you can actually make, um, pickles out of if you wanted to,
Oh,
and it was
okay.
like the, what are those little capers? Have you
Yeah,
ever
yeah, yeah.
eaten capers?
Capers. Yeah,
Okay, well,
I thought they were
these
fish eggs at first.
no. Well, these capers, um, after the war in Germany, the women started pickling these little seeds to use as capers instead because they couldn't get them, and it was called a poor man's caper. Yeah, so
Mm.
that's another little lesson there.
Now,
So,
you mentioned you planted 2 rows of beans, and is that
okay, I'm
because you
telling you
pickle
why.
them?
No, I
Oh.
don't like pickled beans, but I love I love beans out of the garden. I love them. Like, I'm talking go crazy for them. So what I do
Yeah, okay.
is plant a ton because 'cause they're really easy to grow, really easy. They're like, put them in the ground, water them, and you got beans. Like, everybody planted a bean in public school, right? Didn't yous?
I did, yeah, grade 3.
Yeah, so everybody, and that's why, because it's so simple to grow them. So I do 2 rows and I get a ton of beans. So I'll pick them off. I'll get 2 picks off of them. And what I'll do is instead of canning them, now I have canned them. I like canned. So it's actually canned beans. So it's not a pickle bean, but a
Mhm.
canned bean. And so yeah, it's really salty and really good, but it's probably not good for you, but it is really good. And then what I do normally though is blanch them. So you get them all cleaned up, bring them in the house, you snap them the way you want them, whatever length. You drop them in boiling water for 5, I think it's 5 minutes. I think I'd have to look it up, but you can look online. And you blanch them, and that way you can freeze them, and when you take them out of the freezer and boil them again or steam them, whatever you like to do, it's just like you picked them out of the garden.
Now see, I do a similar thing.
Fantastic.
I buy frozen beans, and then I put them in the pot of boiling water. And they're delicious. Like, straight out of
Exactly.
the garden.
Right.
Like,
Exactly the
right.
same.
I pay
Exactly.
I pay about $3 for a 454-gram bag of beans.
Yeah, and you're not doing, like, all this work and sweating over a
Yeah.
boiling
But
pot
you
and
know what? I do know the good feeling that you get because I have done it before. Like, I've grown stuff with my mom. So it is a great feeling when you can eat the stuff that
yeah,
you get
yeah.
out of your garden.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we do tomatoes because I do, down, like, chili sauce. It's called a chili sauce, but it's
Mm,
not what you're thinking, like, it's not a hot sauce, it's like a sweet chili sauce, and it's really,
okay.
really good with tomatoes. Um, some people do salsa. I'm not a big fan of salsa, but our neighbor does a fabulous one.
Oh, yeah,
Um,
yeah,
yeah,
salsa.
your mom probably has made salsa,
A couple
and,
different ones, yeah.
and then the green tomatoes, I got a great recipe from your great grandmother
Mhm.
for green tomato pickles, which your grandpa really likes. So I'll make those if we have a lot of green tomatoes left.
My
Yeah.
mom planted cucumbers one year, and then I went up with my aunt and my other grandma, and we picked them for her. They were all along her fence line, and they were huge. Like, the blueberry baskets? We had,
Hmm.
like, 8 blueberry baskets full of cucumbers, and they were
Yeah.
huge. It was great.
Yeah.
So many
I
pickles.
I don't have a good luck with cucumbers for some reason, but, I'm gonna try again this year. I'm gonna go try again.
Well, I'm gonna
Try
tell you a
again.
secret. All you have to
What's
do,
that?
you take the seeds, you sprinkle
Uh-huh.
them, and leave them be.
Is that what you do? I'm
Let
just
me tell you.
caring for them too much, apparently.
Oh yeah, you just literally you can dig some
Stick
holes
them
if you
in.
want. I didn't even stick them in. I just like because I was helping my mom plant stuff, and like so I just took a handful and make sure the birds don't get them for a couple days. Next thing you know, whoo, we're good to go.
Well, you must have a green thumb.
I'm just a natural.
Or your mother went along after and actually
Yeah,
stuck it in the ground.
exactly.
Did everything that needed to be
She's
done.
cursed. Oh, that's why she was cursing at me. And then
Yeah.
she went
"Son
around
of a
behind me.
bitch!"
Yeah, she went around behind me with.
Yeah, so we're trying a different thing, and we're doing squash, which and I always
Ooh,
do
I
a pumpkin.
love
I always do
squash.
one bed of pumpkins because I always like to have, like, a Halloween pumpkin for the stab or 2. I
Or
usually only
two.
get 1, but
Yeah.
sometimes I'll get 2.
But we're shooting
Um,
for corn this year, right? Ooh.
well, and I did decorative corn
Okay.
'cause the
Nice.
birds love that. I put it out in my fall garden type thing, and the
Mm.
blue jays just go crazy for it. By the end of fall, there's nothing left on the cob. It's just like something came along. It's just a cob with no corn on it.
Well, you know what you should do? Because I know you have your photography camera. You should set up a place where you feed the birds with like a nice background. Take pictures of them.
And you know what else we do is sunflowers, and this is the greatest thing, is you and your grandpa taught me this. He instead of doing all this crazy work with the sunflowers and, like, people take all the seeds out and dry them out, he just takes the head off, whap, takes the head off, takes it, nails it to the tree. Those birds go absolutely crazy for that.
Really?
You don't have to take the seeds out or do and they dry out in the sun, like,
Yeah.
outside, and they just go at that, and you'll go over and it'll be all empty, all the seeds gone. Yeah, the birds love that.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah, so we grow a lot of sunflowers too. Mhm.
Well, I like sunflowers. They're pretty.
Yeah, they are. I love them too.
I
Yeah.
remember one year when we had a little extra cash, we went to the garden center up north and we splurged on flowers one year and I got to make my own pot. I was so excited. So I got the one and it had like pink little spiky balls growing from it.
I can't hear you. I can't hear you. Yeah, I can't hear you at all. There you are.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah, now I hear you.
yeah.
Jesus Christ, what happened there?
I don't know. Lost you. So, and how did your pot turn out?
Oh, it turned out beautiful.
Oh,
Uh,
good night.
yeah, and it lived for like the whole time and then we replanted two things that were in there before the winter and we're getting a storm here. I can see the very dark cloud.
Oh, okay. Maybe
So
that's
that's
what
why
happened.
yeah, I think my internet went out there for a
Oh,
second.
okay.
But yeah, and you know what? If I wasn't so lazy, I would love to have plants in my apartment. I feel like it would be great to brighten the place up. Yeah,
Yeah,
would
yeah.
be nice.
I have one plant I've had for, um, I don't even know how long. Like, it's probably been like, I think I had it like 7 or 8 years, 9 years. And
Hmm.
I thought it was done because it had grown all like out. And so I took it outside last year, tried to kill it. It wouldn't die. Like, I sort of did everything because I was like, I just can't kill it myself, like, take it out of the pot and throw it out. So I took it outside, and it's an indoor plant, and it, like, almost died. but then
Right.
it kept growing. So then I was like, "Oh, for Christ's sakes." So I cut off all these things that were growing out of it, like everything all the way around it, and thought, "Well, now you're gonna die." Well, you should see it. It's just like this big and starting to puff
Oh,
out, and yeah.
I I know exactly what you're talking about. For Mother's Day one year, I got my mom this little cactus thing,
Mm,
and she planted it, and that thing just grew so big, like outside the pot, like it was coming.
mhm,
And it had all these little seeds falling off. So then she gave some to my grandma, to me, like I have one now.
mhm,
Everyone has all these cactus flower things from this one plant.
mhm,
And growing up, I had to do the dishes, and I would get bored sometimes, and this flower was in the windowsill. And I would be like, I wonder what would happen if you put soap water in the plant. So I started putting bubbles and like water in it. I know, fucking freak, right? I was like grade 4, grade 5, I think.
what?
And that thing thrived.
Oh,
I'm
no
telling
wonder.
you. Yeah,
That's probably why it was so big and had all these
I
seeds and
know.
everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was like, die. And I'm
You
putting like soap water.
you were probably helping it.
Yeah.
You probably have a
And
secret that nobody else knows. Do you add a
right?
little bit of sunlight to the one in your window?
Yeah.
Maybe you should.
Let me tell you something. When the world's ending, guess who's coming to knock on my door?
Oh,
That's right.
okay. Okay, maybe. Maybe.
Yeah. You know what?
Or
For
I'll
your
just
little
let you come here and do the dishes.
yeah.
How about that?
Your little corn patch, add some little sunshine dish soap
Ooh,
in there.
yeah. Yeah, that might work. Yeah. I'm no good at corn. I don't know why. And cucumbers. Suck
You
at
know what
that
they
too.
spray on crops? The sunshine dish soap. They just
Probably.
fly over. Yeah,
Probably.
everyone thinks it's pesticides. No,
Yeah.
sunshine dish soap.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It probably is. You're probably onto something. And everybody now
Probably.
they'll hear this podcast on YouTube and be, "Shut it down. Shut it down. Everybody's gonna know how to grow stuff."
We're gonna get a cease and assist.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so that's how we did today, and hopefully our little garden will grow. We've got some squash. I did these. So that's another thing. Squash and pumpkins, they tend to run all over the garden, like so they're
Yeah,
kind of messy. And so this year, like we have a fence around because we have a lot of deer here, and one
yeah.
year the deer went into the garden and ate the tops off all my beans, all of them. So the flowering part, no more, no more beans. Yeah, I was very upset. So
So
then
that's when you
we
got the
put a fence
gun.
around it. Well, and your grandpa did shoot one that year, and I wasn't that sad about it. Um, anyway, so we tacked some of the green netting up to the end of the fence so it flows
Mm.
down, and then we put these black, I don't know what you call them, circular. They're made out of that material that shopping bags are made out of now. You
Oh, yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah,
so we put
yeah.
and we filled those with manure and dirt on, and so that hopefully we're gonna get them to climb up the fence and stay out of the
Oh,
garden so that we can rototill the garden, because that's what happens. They start winding in with the other stuff and you can't rototill anything because then you'll kill them. So we're hoping that works. Yeah. But I watch these people in Alaska, and they if you ever get a chance to or thinking about doing a garden, they do have a lot of, because that's a really short growing season.
yeah.
And so they have a lot of ideas and stuff that you might not think of um, to grow. And there's a fellow out here in Nova Scotia, and he does a YouTube channel specifically for gardens. And he has some interesting, like he puts seaweed on
Mhm.
the garden, like goes to the ocean, collects all this seaweed, takes it home, layers it on his garden, and you would think, like I was like, "Oh my god, the salt. That would kill the garden, like wouldn't it kill it?" But he said it washes it through really
Oh,
quickly, and
wow.
then the seaweed becomes a really good fertilizer for your
Oh.
garden. So there's all kinds of interesting stuff that you can learn.
Well, I would really like a greenhouse. When I have my mansion and like just off the side, I would love a little greenhouse filled with plants and stuff. I'd of course have to hire a gardener twice a
Yeah,
week to take
I was
care of
just gonna
everything.
say,
But
who's watering those?
well, maybe my husband will be into that or something.
Yeah, yeah, well,
Yeah.
I bought these, there's some really cute little, greenhouse things at Giant Tiger. that I bought, and you can put them together yourself. They're not very big. They're, I don't know, 3, 4 feet wide and 4 feet high. And
Yeah.
they're covered with a clear plastic tent, and then they have shelves, and I've got one going outside right now, so,
Nice.
trying to get some stuff started. Your grandpa started stuff, but I think he started it too early, and it all died, so we're gonna try again.
That coming from the corn grower.
Yeah,
Just kidding.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, do we take advice from you? I don't
Yeah,
know.
I don't know, but canning is fun too. You should try that sometime, or have you with your mom? Your mom does
Yeah,
some canning.
I've canned,
Yeah,
and after the
yeah,
40th can, I go, "I'm not doing it anymore."
I'm done.
Like, I'm
And I'm
done.
spent.
And I'm spent. I was like, if I got 1 jar out of the 40, I'd be happy, but I was like, "I'm not doing it anymore. I don't need 5." Like, it gets a bit
Yeah,
much. I know
yeah.
we went into the dollar store or whatever because they had mason jars. Like, it was $5 for, like, a tray, and we just
Mhm,
loaded up, and then we went home and canned all the cucumbers that she had in the garden, so they turned into pickles. They were
mhm,
delicious,
mhm.
but the amount of work you have to do it,
It's a lot.
I it's a lot, and I'm
But
like,
there's
"Guys."
nothing like a homemade dill
That's
pickle.
true.
I cannot buy them anywhere. Like,
That
I
is true.
hate all dill pickle. Like, look at my mouth's watering too because I love my homemade dill pickles, and I can't go in a store and buy them because they're just disgusting to me.
Yeah.
So I will
Well,
go and get English cucumbers all winter long and
yeah.
make refrigerator pickles with my same recipe. Oh god, I still can't.
You know what's funny? I start to drool when I talk about men's pickles. It's so crazy. I guess you and I have that in common. We both drool over pickles.
I get it from my grandma. Okay, that's disgusting. Yeah, anyway, so I love that, but what I have found too, like your mom obviously had a bumper crop of,
Yeah,
and I can't seem to get there with pickling dills, and you need a lot of room
yeah.
for the pickling. So what I found over the years is I just go buy them now because it's so much easier than trying to have a garden 800 miles long for cucumbers.
But I did love when you just stuff the jar full too, like, when it's,
Mhm.
like,
Mhm.
over full and they're, like, this long, because
Mhm.
that's a
Mhm.
decent size for a pickle, and
Okay.
and, they just taste so
I'm gonna
good.
I'm gonna say that we're still talking about cucumbers.
Pickles. Yeah,
Yeah.
cute. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, sometimes they get massive,
Yeah.
and you just gotta cut them down to size, but they're still bigger
Right.
than the ones you get at the store. No.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're delicious, and I like canning those, I like canning beans, I like canning tomato stuff. You can always freeze your vegetables too, like I
Yeah.
said, with a little blanching. You can freeze stuff. I can freeze the chard. I love chard. I'm a bit of a nut over that, and, beans. And you can do peas, but I find, again, peas, those little pods, to sit there and take every one out, and then you get, like, this much out of everything you picked is kind of a pain in the rear.
I 100% agree, and I
I
think it's a
plant
waste of
peas.
time.
The only reason I plant them is when I'm going to the garden to pick beans or chard, I'll stand there and eat the peas right out of the garden. That's why I plant peas. I don't actually harvest them and try and freeze them or anything. I
Now
just eat
see,
them.
when my mom would take me blueberry and raspberry picking, I would eat the majority and for, like, 10 minutes or something, right? And then
Mhm.
fill my basket, like, 1/8 of the way, and
Mhm.
then I'd say, "Okay, I'm done." Like,
Yeah.
this was fun. This was fun for the
Yeah.
45 minutes,
We used to
and
get to go strawberry picking. My mom did a lot of strawberry jam and, that sort of stuff, like, she would preserve strawberries. I don't, probably should, but I don't really care for them that much, but when I was a kid, I did. And she would take us, in tow type thing, and they would say, "Eat all you want. Eat till you're full."
oh, wow.
So that was at that one in Aurelia. I don't know if they still do it. I forget the name of it. But
Well, I
anyway,
love jam.
yeah,
Love
they would
raspberry
just say
jam.
when they saw kids, they just go, "Eat until you're full." And we oh my god, just stuff our faces. Mhm. That was very
Dang.
nice of them.
That's so funny because when a man says that to me, I do the same
Fuck.
thing. Okay, so that's a that was a good episode on gardening.
Hey, that was season 2.
Yeah.
Just kidding. Join us for season 3 when Grandma beats Damon up.
That- I can't help it. I was It's actually your fault because I feel like the Austin Powers movies had
I
this
think it's not
influence over
mine.
me.
I think it's your grandpa's fault. I think you
I
take
think
after him a little bit.
Yeah, but I think it was also the Austin Powers movies because I think
Okay.
they just influenced me so heavy that I was like,
Really?
now I say things like this. But
Okay,
also
well,
my
that's
grandfather,
okay.
because yeah, he used to say
He
things like
has no
that.
filter. You have no filter.
Yeah,
Very similar.
I know I
So
don't
what
have
can
a
we say
filter.
about self-sustaining? You say no.
I say solar power.
Do you? I wouldn't even
Well, I
want
don't
that.
know.
I wouldn't want
No,
it. No.
I like it. At the cottage, like my other grandparents' cottage, we just got solar power and it's so nice because
Does
now
it
we can,
work though?
yeah, like
Like,
they put
can you run everything?
are the lights to the cabin, our phones, everything. You just put it on the roof, like where on
Yeah,
top of the
yeah,
roof.
yeah. Yeah,
Like we actually have panels, not the little
yeah,
things for fucking solar lights, but the heavy duty ones. And it
yeah.
charges everything, right? And it's
Wow.
so nice. Because we used to
Okay.
have a generator. And
Yeah.
once that generator goes, you're screwed. But now it
Mhm.
charges everything. So yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like I said, I think it's a young person's thing.
Hmm.
But I also think as much as you could get off of this stuff, it's probably in the end better for you. Like if you were gonna, grow your own garden, grow your own meat, it probably is better for you than
Probably.
relying on grocery stores, especially with the way they use hormones. It's interesting when you see a commercial for chicken or beef, and they say we never used antibiotics. Well, everybody goes, "Oh, thank God." Well, no, it's almost like a false advertising because antibiotics, even if you use and we did have a farm and we had
Hmm.
cattle and we had chickens, even if you use antibiotics on an animal, the only thing you can't do is sell that animal within 6 weeks of the time you use the antibiotic. But the antibiotic
Oh,
itself also is not something that will hurt you necessarily. What does hurt you and what they don't say is we don't use hormones. Hormones
hormones.
is the thing that hurts people and is causing problems. They don't say that on the commercial ever. So it's kind of false advertising because
I
antibiotics
see.
aren't going to hurt you anyway. But so I'm just saying hormones are in all meat products and they do cause issues. So if you can grow your own, probably better.
That's true. If you have the
But
patience, time, to
room, right? You're not
yeah,
going to
room.
grow your own, animals like a pig and whatever in the middle of town. Um, well,
Well,
maybe, but
yeah.
some people. But I'm just saying, for the most part, they don't allow that. But um, if you have the room and you decide to do it, but it's also hard. It's hard to do. You have to understand
Yeah,
that you're going to what the end result is, and you do get attached. Like even a chicken, you can get attached to a chicken.
yeah.
I didn't. I'm not a but I did get attached to a turkey, so
There's a fine line between chicken and turkey.
yeah, there is. And and you wouldn't think it, but oh my god. Chickens are disgusting. Blah. Mm,
But the
mm-mm.
turkeys, well, they're
Oh,
great.
they're adorable. Adorable. They are.
I feel like this is okay. This is just like taking me back to when I was little, and my aunt was babysitting that little kid, and it's like, I'm your own grandchild, and you're like, oh yeah, he's all right. But then someone else's kid, you're like, oh, isn't he just adorable? Oh, just precious. Like this is like the thing that's going on in my head. It's like, oh, chickens, yeah, they're okay. Turkeys, oh my god, so amazing. Like,
Are you having flashbacks?
yeah, I'm having a bad memory right now.
Oh my god. Well, you just get over it. You're fine.
Well, to get over it, I'm gonna go buy a rotisserie chicken and make a stir fry. So
And you're just gonna mow down on that chicken. Well, think about it
yeah,
where it comes from. Just saying.
God, Jesus.
Okay. And you're gonna thank Jesus. Thank Jesus for this
I
chicken.
once a day at supper time.
Mm. Mhm, mhm, mhm. Exactly.
Okay, well, I think we should wrap it up. So
Okay.
thanks, Grandma, so much for that educational lesson on
Well,
what
that was
happens
fun.
with stuff.
Yeah, and you'll definitely fall in love with turkeys before you fall in love with chickens.
Those are words to live by.
Right. Okay, let's
Okay,
leave it at that.
thanks everyone for joining us, and we hope you have a great day.
Bye.